All right, welcome back. Um, when you look at um, the uh, TV deal that is being wrapped up by the Pac-12 commissioner, um, all of the major networks are out. You haven't really heard of a commonality of ESPN and Fox are still negotiating with the Pac-12. You haven't heard of NBC negotiating with the Big 12. I mean the Pac-12. You haven't heard of none of the major networks negotiating with the Pac-12. In fact, we're looking at alternative networks that are negotiating with the Pac-12. We're looking at the Apples. In fact, I don't even think Amazon is negotiating, but you keep hearing Apple name thrown around. And then also, you're hearing Scripps. That's an alternate TV provider, as well as CW Network. When you look at that, these are alternatives to the normal traditional sports networks. And to be honest with you, when you have a conference with arrogance like what you have there at the Pac-12, just out of nature, maybe even if they're not trying to do it, who do you think is going to stay and support? Even though there's some schools that have to stay because they have no other options, but those who have options, when you compare it, it's almost like, okay, major networks, non-major networks, dollar amount. You can get the same amount of money playing with the potential for a pay raise increase in the next TV deal, right? You're looking at 40 plus million a year per school on the major platforms, being visual to the households of the US and even the world. And then you have local networks like the CW, so on and so forth, who can get you close of a number, right? But I mean, who's going to turn to these channels to watch these programming? Yeah, you're going to have some of the school support locally, but outside of that, not too many people are going to watch. So there's going to be schools within the conference that is not going to stay there. And when you have a compare and contrast, it's real simple. I'm going to go to these major networks where all the, if the Big Ten and the SEC is on these major networks, and we know that this is the IT conferences, and the Big 12 is at these major networks, and then you got these secondhand aftermarket networks doing something new, that's an easy decision to make. It at this point, it don't even matter about the money to a certain extent, because you know that these three conferences at these major networks have a reasonable amount of revenue. It's more of like, what are you sacrificing by staying? You're sacrificing a lot of things to stay as opposed to moving over. So in the next couple of weeks, watch out for these programs who are deciding to stay and who's deciding to go. And it's going to matter based off of, comparing and contrasting the sports networks to secondhand networks. You mean to tell me these schools who's trying to get in the Big Ten, so they say, trying to get in the Big Ten, is going to stay and settle for the CW network? No offense to them, but they just don't, they're not known for sports. Like, they do TV shows and they do, game shows and things like that. You don't turn to the CW channel to watch football. And even if you do end up doing that, and yes, it's easily accessible, it's more about from an internal aspect. The schools pride, I don't think the school's pride are going to allow them to be playing on these networks. Picture picture Arizona being broadcast on a CW network, and you can see the CW network personnel out there broadcasting the game. Yeah, there's going to give you easy access as far as eyeballs, but just the brand itself. I mean, you're going to become a laughing stock of the college football and basketball and sports. People are going to like not even consider that as anything significant. And all of this matters when you're recruiting. I keep getting back to the transfer portal and raising generating revenue and recruits. Recruits are not going to want to go. I mean, of course, they'll look at the institute itself, but I mean, come on, the CW network. I mean, it is local, but I mean, when you compare, do I want to be broadcast on ESPN or the CW network? So when you look at this, these are decisions that's going to be made of what builds the schools and the teams is going to be the players. They have a significant role moving forward. So it's going to be an easy decision to make when you're these schools who have options are going to compare and contrast. If you're going to make the same amount of money as these three conferences or whatever, or the Big 12, and they're on ESPN and Fox, and we're on CW and Scripps, they're going to want to go to these schools. Like, I mean, they're going to want to be on ESPN. Everyone knows about ESPN. So, you know, in the next couple of weeks, just be on the lookout for schools vetting to join other conferences or staying. That's really what this is going to boil down to. Are they going to stay or move to the other conference? Once again, Global News. Thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Till next time, thank y'all. Have a great day.